Hello everyone. Today I've got a bit of a shorter video essay for you, but one I've wanted to make for a while nonetheless. If you couldn't tell, I really like the horror genre, and because of that I have watched many short horror films on YouTube, and there was one thing that bothered me about a lot of them, is that they all kind of had a similar format. There was, your typical, demon antagonist, something to do with like a curse or something, and it always ended with a cheesy jump scare or somebody dying exploding on a wall. This short film is exactly the opposite of almost all of those ones. Today we are talking about Dylan Clark's Portrait of God. Before we start this video, I would really like if you went and watched this for yourself so that my interpretation of it doesn't ruin what you might be able to get out of it by yourself, and I would love to hear what you think of it in the comments section. Also, go support Dylan. Dude's almost at 200,000 subscribers, and I want to see him make it there. He deserves way more than that because his work is brilliant. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Portrait of God begins with a verse from the Bible, Exodus 33:20, which says, "No man shall see me and live." This verse makes for a great opening from a horror film, but I would like to give complete context as to what it means. In the passage, God is speaking to Moses. Moses asks to see God's glory, to which God replies, "No man can see his face and live." In verses 21 through 23, he says, "Behold, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock. And while my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." I'll get into more of that later, but right now let's focus on the story. A projector falls down, and we meet our protagonist, Mia. Mia is preparing for a presentation on a painting titled Portrait of God. She clicks a stopwatch on her phone and opens the presentation by asking, "What does God look like?" She gives us, the audience, a moment to look at this painting, and it seems that there is nothing there, just blackness. She says that she too sees nothing in the image, but that others insist they see a person standing there in the dark. While these audio clips play, Mia fidgets with a cross necklace that she has. The very last audio clip is of a man who sounds as if he is in absolute awe, saying,
"Speckle of light to them." Honestly, it's unsettling. Of course it's frightening. That kind of power should be.
I don't like looking at it. I don't like it.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Mia continues the presentation, saying that maybe it's just a trick of light, or maybe the people in the audio are actually having a religious experience. And finally, she asks, why does God appear to them and not us? Ending the presentation at 1 minute and 46 seconds with a slide that says, "Why can they see him?" I see this scene as her questioning her beliefs. The description of the video does confirm that Mia is religious. And whenever she fidgets with the cross necklace while she looks at the painting, tells me that she is looking for something, that she does not fully believe in a thing that she cannot see. She resets the stopwatch and goes back to the first slide. She slows down this time, once again reaching for the cross necklace as she says, "What do you see?" As she stares longer at the painting, she begins to see something. Two very small glowing balls of light. They get brighter, and we can make out a vague outline of a face and maybe the back of this creature shown on the painting. Mia stands up and gets closer to the screen, smiles while grabbing her cross because she believes she is seeing something incredible. As she sees more of its face, she begins to look afraid and lets go of the cross and attempts to shut the projector off. The projector retracts, but the creature is still there. And then it looks directly at her. In absolute terror, she runs. Personally, I would have already been out of the building. She runs through a door and slams it behind her. As she does this, she is seemingly transported to this abyss-like place. There is nothing but blackness around her. We can hear footsteps coming from behind Mia, and when she turns around, we can see the eyes of the entity slowly making its way towards her. In fear, she steps back out of the spotlight and grips her cross necklace as she prays the Lord's Prayer. As she is praying, the camera cuts to the point of view of the entity watching her pray. It gets face to face with her, and we get a blurry look at this thing. This is the best look we ever get of the creature. It seems to be as the people in the audio clips describe. It's a pale figure, he has wide eyes and a smile that is a little too wide. But even then, we can't exactly see it. A hand reaches out and gently grabs Mia's chin. An interesting point about this shot that I noticed is that from where the creature is standing and the placement of this hand on her chin doesn't make sense, giving an almost omnipresent feeling to the creature itself. You get what I'm saying, like, I don't know, just look at it closer. Maybe you might see what I see. It tilts Mia's face toward it, but she does not open her eyes. The entity opens its mouth, revealing a bright light, and that is when Mia opens her eyes. As she looks at it, her fear seems to dissipate, and she is almost hypnotized by it. We cut back to Mia in front of the projector screen with tears running down her cheeks. She is gripping the cross necklace so hard that her hand is bleeding, and blood drips down her white shirt. We then cut to her phone, which reveals that she has been standing there staring at the painting for 3 hours. The projector isn't showing anything, and she stares into this nothingness. With the projector light beaming right above her head, she smiles, and the film ends. I absolutely loved this film, and after watching it, I began thinking what it was showing me. As a Christian myself, I think this kind of horror isn't ever touched on, and this was the first time I had seen it. And it raised so many questions that I just had to make a video about it, and I ended up coming up with 2 different theories. My first theory: Mia questioned at the beginning of the film whether or not the people were being tricked, or whether they were actually having a religious experience. In the Bible, religious experiences happen all the time. Moses encounters God through the burning bush, Paul encounters the risen Christ on the road to Damascus, the disciples witness the transfiguration. Many people in the Bible are visited by angels too. In my original analysis, I came to the conclusion that the entity was God, or at least an angel of some sort. I found that Mia's experience was similar to that of Paul. If you don't know the story of Paul, I'll tell it to you real quick. Paul, at the time named Saul, was a Pharisee and persecutor of the early Christian church, who would go around imprisoning Christians. One day on the road to Damascus, Paul encounters Christ in the form of a bright light. This blinds him for 3 days. On the 3rd day, a man named Ananias comes and prays for Saul, at which point he becomes a new man and changes his name to Paul, who dedicates his life to going around and spreading the gospel. Instead of persecuting Christians, he now builds churches. When looking at Portrait of God, you could say that Mia's story mirrors Paul's story. I've established that throughout the film she appears to be uncertain in her faith. She repeatedly reaches for the cross on her neck whenever she is uncomfortable, like she is holding on to the thought that what she has been told is true. Her presentation revolves around one question: why can they see him? She wants absolute certainty. She wants to see God. She wants proof, and upon looking into the portrait, a divine entity reveals itself. I also want to bring us back to Moses. At the beginning of both the film and this video, I brought up Exodus 33:20. No man shall see my face and live. I also told you the other 2 verses that come after it, where God says that he will not allow Moses to see his face, but he will cover Moses' eyes and pass by, and as his face has passed by, he will allow Moses to look at his back. Likewise, the creature did not allow Mia to see its face. It instead opened its mouth, revealing a bright light. Now, I kind of see parallels between those 2 stories. Now, whether or not the creature is God or an angel or some divine being, I believe that you could read this as the light being God's answer to Mia, that he will still not allow her to see his face, but he will assure her that he is real, that what she believes is true. My original reading of the story was a little lighthearted, so I began to read it again and come up with a second theory. You see, the Bible tells us that not all spiritual experiences are from God. 2 Corinthians 11:14 says, "Even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light." I believe that this entity featured in the film is not God. It is something much more malevolent. She's dedicating so much time and research into this because she hopes that she will be able to see what she has been told is the undeniable truth for all of her life. All of a sudden, she has all of this credible evidence, people describing the same thing that they see in this painting, so she takes it as her opportunity to see what she finally wants to see, to prove something that she didn't know she could prove. As a Christian, even I have doubted my faith, and I know that when you are weak and spiritually vulnerable, that is when the enemy will set traps and take advantage of you. 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. In Christianity, God is not someone who demands proof through spectacle. In fact, Jesus repeatedly criticizes people who seek signs and wonders as a foundation for their faith. In John 20:29, Jesus said to him, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." Faith is meant to come through trust, not through being overwhelmed by supernatural displays. The entity, however, draws Mia in through curiosity. It gives her exactly what she wants: visible and almost credible evidence. Mia begins the film asking why other people can see God while she cannot. She wants certainty. She wants proof. The entity answers that desire by revealing itself. Rather than leading Mia towards faith, it bypasses faith entirely, and it gives her something tangible to look at, something impossible to ignore. Mia ends up digging so far into something that she cannot get out of. The void she ends up in is representative of the metaphorical void inside herself. The void of doubt and fear that she does not understand. And what fills that doubt? Not the Lord, instead this entity. It is allowed to manifest there and consume her. It is a thing that she has allowed to take her captive. The light protruding from its mouth is not a holy light. It is a hypnotic and manipulative light, one that's meant to keep distracting her so that the entity can have her soul. If it were just a monster trying to catch her through fear, this film would have ended with a jump scare and her screaming. But instead, she stares and smiles. The cross she holds remains physically present, but spiritually absent. Mia is no longer focused on God, she is focused entirely on the experience she is having. A distraction. The supernatural encounter has become more important than the faith it was supposedly meant to confirm. One thing this creature does is conquer her mind through fascination. The Bible describes Satan as a destroyer, but also a deceiver. In this short, deception seems much more important than destruction. The creature gives Mia exactly what she wants: a visible, undeniable spiritual experience, and in doing so, may have led her further away from the God that she was trying to get closer to. Thank you for watching this video. I was very eager to share with you all my two different ideas on what the story could mean. Because as I analyzed it so much, I was not certain on whether or not the monster was supposed to be God, which is, once again, a very interesting topic that no one ever touches on, or if it was the devil. But tell me once again what you guys think of it in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.